Many thanks for your company. Let's begin from the Electoral Commission, who've expanded the re-collation of some constituencies' results to approximately 9 constituencies. In fact, 9 constituencies. At a press conference to address issues concerning the results of some outstanding constituencies, Chairperson of the EC, Jean Mensah, says re-collated results of 3 constituencies, that is Suhum, Akwatia and Fanteakwa North, will be accepted. James Aveji is on the beat and tells us more.
The Electoral Commission, in its latest address, has rejected the coalition result of 9 different constituencies. You recall that the NDC and NPP have dragged the commission to court, with the NDC in particular asking for a rerun of the elections in the Nsawam constituency. The commission chair, Jean Mensah, has been explaining the situation under which some of these constituencies' results have been collated.
Our staff have been threatened, and the established collation processes, as guided by law, have been disrupted, and winners have been declared without due processes governing collation being followed. In a number of instances, our staff have been threatened with death and forced to declare outcomes without adhering to the processes governing collation.
Although accepting the electoral result of Suhum, Akwatia and Fanteakwa North constituencies, the EC chair explains reasons why the 9 other constituencies, including the embattled Nsawam constituency results, cannot be accepted.
In Tema Central, the DO again was threatening, and he was forced to declare results using 146 polling stations instead of 148. The commission would not uphold that declaration. In Domi Kwabenya, there's some contention with 3 polling station results, and the commission is carrying out its own investigation with the 3 polling station results.
The EC is asking the president and the president-elect, including the National Election Security Task Force, to provide a safe place for the re-coalition.
We therefore use this occasion to humbly call on the President of Ghana, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, as well as our President-elect, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, to intervene in this matter so as to ensure that the commission is provided with the necessary security and protection to carry out its functions.
The EC, however, is silent on the cases pending in court as to whether they would wait for the conclusion of those cases before they proceed with the coalition. They have also not been able to address the specifics of the electoral materials that have been burnt in the fire outbreak that happened in the last 3 days. From the EC headquarters here in Accra, my name is James Saveji for Joy News.
From the Electoral Commission, let's move on to other stories. Now, the Accident Victim Support Ghana is expressing concerns over the increase in number of road crashes recorded in 2024. According to the organization that is focused on giving care to accident victims, the number of distress calls received this year increased to an average of 13 per day, compared to 9 received in 2023. A situation they say is worrying. Executive Director of the NGO, Juliet Osei-Kranting, made this revelation at a prayer and awareness creation campaign at the VIP station right here in Accra. Prince Kwame Kuduga has more in this report.
According to data from the National Road Safety Authority, 1,237 people died from road crashes between January and June 2024, and 7,561 sustained injuries within the same period. Executive Director of the Accident Victim Support Ghana, Juliet Osei-Kranting, says the situation is worrying.
Receive a minimum of 13 calls for help. A minimum of 13 calls. Compared to last year, we're receiving about 9-10. But yes, 13 calls a day. A minimum of 13 calls a day. That is what we receive. And it includes those who are in distress. That is our main source of worry now.
Road safety campaigner Reverend Cyril Crabb urged drivers to be extra cautious, especially during the Christmas festivities, to avoid a surge in road accidents.
Going into this festive season, one, yes, we are praying, but we must also be on the lookout for these things. One, we need to maintain our cars. Overspeeding is another cause, because for cashing in, drivers would want to overspeed on our roads, to rush in and rush out. This is the time that you don't even have to think of rushing in, because you will still make your money. You will still make your cash. And so don't think because you want to cash in, because there are people in town, you want to rush and then drop them and come back. Take your time, rest, have car maintenance, lower your speed, and we are good to go.
Drivers who took part in the session spoke to Joy News.
I would advise them, drive tired is not good. Christmas is coming. You make sure you go slowly, you come slowly. When you are tired, tell the car when I'm tired, I'm giving it to my friend, a spare driver, to go and come. So that next year, we can see the driver. You're a car when I can see your car and your friend. So they need to be slow down and patient on the road.
Prayers were said against road accidents on Ghanaian roads ahead of the Christmas holidays. Prince Kwame Kudoga's report for Joy News.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. On our roads, Jesus, taking advantage, Jesus.
Now, the Anti-Corruption Preparatory team, established by President-elect John Dramani Mahama, has introduced a range of interactive platforms for Ghanaians to report suspected acts of corruption. The initiative aims to foster transparency and accountability as part of the incoming administration's commitment to good governance. On your screens in a bit is a statement signed by Felix Kwachifosu, spokesperson for the Mahama transition team. And according to that statement, which we put into a graphic for you, the Anti-Corruption Preparatory team, set up by the president, has launched various platforms through which members of the public can securely forward information on suspected acts of corruption. I believe it goes on to say that members of the public wishing to share any information on suspected acts of corruption can reach the team on the toll-free number 0800-900-111. Its website, www.oralgh.org, or via an email through public@oralgh.org. And the public is also hereby assured that information sent to the team will be handled expeditiously and with utmost discretion. Try and connect with the spokesperson to put this in perspective, but let's move on now. That's the team on your screens right now, and that's the website. When you log on to the website, that is what it looks like. You can just interact with it on your own and find out if you have any information that you think will be useful for the transition, the oral team rather, and then you can share with them, because remember that this team is basically gathering information, and the president-elect said yesterday that whatever information they gather, they will be handing that information over to either the Office of the Special Prosecutor or the institutions that are actually mandated and who have prosecutorial roles, because these guys, led by Samuel Okudzeso Ablakwa, they do not have prosecutorial role. They're only gathering information. Right, let's move on to other stories now. Deputy Executive Director, Non-Governmental Organization, the Center for Indigenous Knowledge and Organizational Development, Daniel Banoku, is urging government to turn its attention on ecological agriculture, which he said will reduce more than half of the country's budget on agriculture. He said over the years, government spent staggering amounts of money to import seed, fertilizer, and other agricultural inputs. He asserted that those monies could be channeled to produce them locally, and the monies could be channeled to other sectors of the economy. Daniel Banoku made the statement in WA in his outfit together with Atinka Company Limited, and they presented maize and sorghum to the WA Central Prison. Joy News Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafiq Salam reports from WA.
One major challenge faced by prison authorities in the country is the inadequacy of food to feed its inmates. The money allotted for feeding each inmate in the country's prison is pegged at 1 cedis 80 pesos, which is seen as inadequate considering the economic conditions in the country. Prison authorities therefore improvise ways to complement the effort of the government by setting up vegetable gardens and farms to add to the nutritional needs of the inmates. They did this by partnering some non-governmental organizations to cater for the feeding needs of the prisoners. The War Central Prison entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Center for Indigenous Knowledge and Organizational Development, CICOD, and AntiCorruption Limited. Deputy Executive Director of CICOD and Deputy Managing Director of AntiCorruption Limited, Daniel Banoku, and Said Mubarak Abdullahi threw further light on the partnerships respectively.
We were in our office one day when we got a team who walked into our office and put these problems before us, that they had a problem with feeding, but they were not coming to ask for food, and that they were coming to ask for support to grow food. And I thought that was the way to go, so that when people leave these big great walls, they find themselves skills, employable skills, capacities to be able to start things on their own, and therefore might not be vulnerable to crime.
Our intention and view was that with this 10-acre plot that we were doing, one, we were to have sufficient foods for the inmates, and secondly, to also have a revolving fund for the Ghana Prison Service and all year-round production. So precisely, we're having a huge target.
Daniel Banoku averred that Ghana can save more than half of its budget on agriculture from the importation of mineral fertilizer and other agriculture inputs that are not produced in the country. He cited the case of organic fertilizer, which is cheaper to produce and has zero effect on the climate.
More than 50% of our agriculture budget is spent in other economies, to import seed, to import fertilizer, import pesticides, and deal this. If all of these resources were put in our own economy, the challenges that we face as a country can be reduced significantly, while we feed Ghanaians with healthy, safe, and diversified foods.
SICO donated 2.3 tons or 46 million bags of sorghum to the War Central Prison. AntiCorruption Limited, on the other hand, also donated 70 bags of maize to them. SICO, in addition, pledged to drill and mechanize a borehole for the command to expand and improve activities on the vegetable gardens to enable them have an all-year gardening. Our Regional Commander of the Ghana Prison Service, DDP Alaji Tasembedu Osmani Esquire, commended SICOD and AntiCorruption Limited for the support and the training given to the inmates, stating that it will go a long way to help in their reformation process, urging them to continue with the partnership.
That generosity will significantly enhance the well-being of our inmates, and also we have been able to transform the inmates by giving them skill training and then building their capacity. Their feeding will greatly be improved. This will contribute also to the reformation and rehabilitation process of the Ghana Prison Service.
Chief Executive Officer of SICOD, Bernard Guri, used the opportunity to call on Ghanaians to embrace the culture of ecological agriculture.
That is farming without using chemicals, without using chemical fertilizers, because we all know that the impact of it. I think Upper West are witnesses to the impact of climate change recently, when we didn't have any rains and our crops were all drying up. And so that's why we are promoting this agriculture that doesn't promote chemicals which are dangerous to us as human beings, but to the crops as well.
SICOD presented certificates of training to some inmates who took part in the production of organic fertilizer. Reporting for Joy News, Rafik Salam.
Rafik Salam always has the most detailed reports. Now, let me tell you about women involved in fish processing along Ghana's coastal areas, particularly in Keta and Anglogam. They're appealing to the government and the Vice President-elect, Professor Jane Nano Pukwajiman, to urgently address the devastating impact of illegal fishing activities in their waters. Now, these women, whose livelihoods depend heavily on the availability of fish, say their industry is on the verge of collapse due to the destructive practices of illegal trawlers. They highlighted issues such as boundary violations, light fishing, and the use of harmful chemicals, all of which have led to a significant decline in fish catches. Ivy Setoji has more in this report.
The fish processors of Keta, led by Ruby Adupo, chairperson of the Fish Processors Association, and also Deputy Women Coordinator of Canoe and Fish Gears Owners Association of Ghana, Rita Esinu Kwaji, have raised alarms over illegal fishing practices, including boundary violations by foreign trawlers, chemical fishing, and light fishing. These practices have depleted fish stocks, leaving local fishermen unable to bring home a sustainable catch. Rita Esinu Kwaji explained how illegal trawlers operate during close seasons, crossing boundaries to exploit the resources that should be preserved for local fishermen. She also lamented on other challenges, urging the Vice President-elect, Professor Jane Nana Pukwajiman, to come to their aid.
We are very happy. We are overwhelmed that we hear that our dear mom, Nana Pukwajiman, was the Vice President for Ghana. We would like her to help we women, because we are fish processors. All those fishing trawlers, they are coming here, cross the boundary, fishing in our area. It make our husband, they are no more catching fish. So by closing time, close season time, they come beyond the boundary of the area they ask them to stay. Because of that, when they open the season, the close season, we don't understand anything, because they have already catch the fish and go away with. All these fishing trawlers, there are many. They are disturbing artisanal fishers. So we would like our mom, as she come, to intervene for us, that she can stop all those people, or as many as they are, if they can drive them away, so that we have our freedom for our business to go on.
The fish processors appeal to Vice President-elect Professor Jane Nana Pukwajiman to intervene in multiple ways, including regulating trawler activities, enforcing strictly closed seasons, and ensuring the availability of pre-mixed fuel for fishermen. Ruby Adupo spoke on behalf of the Keta Fish Processors Association on the issues of pre-mixed fuel for fishermen.
The fishers use pre-mixed fuel good to fish, but this time around, in these 8 years, we suffered most because of what? Because of the premise fuel. They brought the premise to the landing beaches, and that premise fuel is for the fisher folks. But before you realize, the party members will come and hijack the premise. And even when the fisherman came to come and buy the fuel, he will not get it. Could you imagine that the fisherman will come for a premise for like 20 yellow gallon? He will not get it. Those who are there, the party members, will tell the fisherman that is just deserve for 5 yellow gallon. And it will become a problem every blessed day. So if the fisherman went there and he didn't get the premise, he have to go to a filling station and go and buy petrol and other oil to mix before sent to the shore. So if they went and they got something small like fish, they increased the money. And when we bought it as a fish processors, we lost. We didn't gain anything. But Before, our mother's time, when you see a fish processor, you will know that this person is a billionaire. But this time around, it's no more like that because of the fuel, premise fuel.
It is the hope of these women and other fisher folks that help come soon, especially from the Vice President-elect, Professor Jenana Opoku-Agyeman. Ivy Setoji, Joy News, Jelukope.
Let's get more on this story. And Ivy Setoji is connecting with us via Zoom. Ivy, it's good to see you. Blandi and Tolo. But I mean, I'm sure you interacted with the people there. There are stories that you might have heard that didn't make it into your report. Can you explain exactly how these fisher folks are being affected by the activities of boundary violations, light fishing, and the rest of the issues that he highlighted? What are some of the stories you're hearing? And Ivy, you have to unmute for us.
Yeah, so can you hear me?
Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, so usually we have this close season mostly, and when it is that time, the fish, the activities of these people are affected because you realize that these people, the fish trawlers, are almost and always doing their work. They are always on the sea fishing. They even come closer to the boundaries that they are not supposed to be, according to the first woman we spoke to, that is a Suhum. And so she's saying that with all these issues, after the close season, they have nothing to catch, and they get back to the old system. They are not able to catch enough fish. Their husbands are not able to do any work. And with the issue of premise too, premise fuel, they realize that politicians especially are into the premise fuel. They hold the fuel and sell it to the Togolese. And so they are making business out of them. And so they are unable to get the premise fuel. And so they have to look for that's diesel and petrol to mix together for the patient, which according to them is really, really difficult for them. So what they want to do, especially the women, is that now that Ghana is about to swear in the first ever female vice president, and they want to put all their problems to her. They actually want Jenana to solve these issues as soon as possible because she's a woman. She's obviously a mother. And so all the issues they enumerated, they want her to solve those issues for her as soon as possible, so they can also have a feel of belonging in their own area, because according to them, they are really, really going through a lot in the hands of these fish trawlers, especially the Chinese ones. Something, according to them, the government has not been able to help them solve the issue. So right now, they are depending on the woman, that's the vice president-elect, to do everything in her power, as a mother especially, to come to their aid.
I mean, Ivy, I understand the wisdom behind appealing to the Vice President-elect, Jenana Opoku-Agyeman, but let me take you back to the premix fuel. So is it an issue of lack of access because the politicians allegedly have hoarded this? Is it an issue of lack of access, or it's too expensive for them to buy?
It's not really an issue of lack of access. Normally they have it according to them, but what normally happens is when it comes in that quantities, the politicians, especially those who are in charge, decide to have their share, and then they decide to give them the quantity that they want to give them. So, these politicians have these issues of, they have this coordinators of premise fuel. In both our region, they have the southern coordinators and they have their workers under them. So when the fuel comes, for example, they make sure that they have their own gallons hoarded in their warehouses or their homes. And so they can decide to give the fisher folks 5 or 10 for them to share, which is not adequate.
Yeah. All right.
So the result is buying fuel for the filling station to mix before they are able to go fishing.
Right.
And that is the difficult task. Yes.
Ivy,
so that is what they are asking the vice president to help them with.
Thank you so much, Ivy. Ivy Setoji is our Volta region correspondent, shining light on some women involved in fish processing along Ghana's coastal areas, especially in Keta and Angloga. Thank you, Ivy. Right, let's do some other stories. In fact, let's go to the western region of Ghana now, and they're currently facing a devastating cholera outbreak, with over 800 reported cases and 14 fatalities across 8 districts so far. Health authorities are urging urgent measures, including mass vaccination and enhanced hygiene practices to curb the spread. Our reporter, Natalia Kwanzaa, joins us with updates on the situation. Ina, what's the situation status in your region as we speak?
Okay, sweetie, so thank you. Unfortunately, the incident, like you did just say, was in 8 districts, which is the Shama, Sekendi, Takoradi, Efia, Pesimintim. That was, and then some part of Ahanta West, that is Aguna and Apoe. That was where these cases were, evolving from. But as we stand, from my last interaction with some health officials within the region, they tell me that we also have some trekking down to the coastal belt, that is Axim, and then Takwa in Suhum, and that has become another headache for them. WHO is in the western region, helping with the vaccination, and then also looking at the situation at the various hotspots that have been identified, like Takoradi, Efia, Pesimi Team, Sekendi, Takoradi, Shama, and all that. The vaccination began last Sunday, which was on the 15th, and it ended yesterday, which was on the 19th. I must say that the people of Sekendi, Takoradi, and all identified hotspots rushed to the various health facilities to take this vaccination. The vaccination was an oral one, and so they give it to you by, taking records, and then they give you a card. So that when you meet anyone outside and they ask you, just like they did in COVID, you can show it to them that this is my card. I have taken the cholera vaccination. And this was done for people within the ages of 1 and above. Pregnant women were not part, and then lactating mothers as well were not part. But lactating mother, if your child is like 1 year old, you can take the vaccination. And they have come out in their numbers. I can say for a fact that when you go to various health centers, on Monday, Joy News, we visited most of the health centers here in the Western region, and we saw people queuing for this vaccination. And so it has been a success. We are yet to speak to the health directorate about the final day when they finished yesterday, how many people they were able to, vaccinate. They were estimating 600,000, and we hope that they were able to. But now, we've not heard of any fatalities, and I think that the rate is going down, unlike when it began that people were, up in the hospitals. You could go and you see, even though it is there, but it's not like, ever since they started the vaccination, I think it's been mitigated, sweetie.
Natalia, just a final bit before you go. Since, you said a lot of people poured out in their numbers. It means the response to the vaccination was a good one. But since the time vaccination ended till now, have you had any more reported cases, anything of that sort?
Sweetie, from where I sit, I cannot say there has been more cases reported. We will speak to the health officials, and whatever information we get, we'll give it to our viewers.
Thank you so much, Natalia Kwanzaa, reporting from the Western region in terms of the status of the cholera outbreak in that region and some districts that saw severe cases. Thank you, Natalia. Let's move on to other stories. Still in health, the Ghana Health Service is calling on the government to increase funding for malaria control. The service estimates it will cost the country around $3 billion to eradicate malaria by 2028. At the launch of the Ghana Malaria Youth Corps, Dr. Dora Dazi, head of research, surveillance, monitoring and evaluation at the National Malaria Elimination Program, stressed the need for sufficient funding to achieve the program's objectives. There's more in this report.
The Ghana Health Service estimates that $3 billion is needed to implement the National Malaria Elimination Program, which aims to eradicate malaria by 2028. However, it notes that health budgets have grown more slowly than the national budget, with the health sector's allocation increasing by only 9.09% compared to 71.75% rise in the national budget between 2019 and 2022. Speaking at the launch of the Ghana Malaria Youth Corps, Dr. Dora Dadzi, who is the head of research, surveillance, monitoring and evaluation at the National Malaria Elimination Program, emphasized the importance of adequate funding to achieve the program's goals.
The government has been very supportive in our fight against malaria. The government funds a number of the interventions. But there are still some funding gaps, so we also call on the government to make available funding so that we can expand the scope of some of malaria intervention. And then we also want the government to also support this youth-led initiatives so that in a way to help the fight against malaria.
Dr. Dazi further tasked the youth to lead advocacy on the fight against malaria.
Ghana has made a lot of progress when it comes to malaria control. And even with this progress, there are still some challenges because every year we still have so many malaria cases and deaths. Now that our aim is to eliminate malaria, I want to bring everybody on board, especially the youth. So we want the youth to serve as advocates of malaria. We want them to serve as community educators. So we are calling on them to educate their peers, to use the available malaria intervention, to seek early treatments, early testing and treatment when they have symptoms which suggest malaria. And then we also know that the youth form the majority of the population. So if you're able to get their buy-in, then it means that we'll be able to make some progress towards malaria elimination.
Ghana hopes to achieve 90% reduction in malaria mortality, 50% reduction in malaria cases, and achieving malaria prevention in at least 6 districts by 2028. Collins from Ponce Report for Joy News.
Away from health, let me take you to Parliament now, because the Finance Minister is expected to lay before Parliament the expenditure in advance of appropriation for January to March 2025 today. Let's take you live to Parliament as the minority warns the Finance Minister risks jail term if he fails to show up before the House today. Parliamentary correspondent Kweku Asante joins us with more. Kweku, we are waiting to see the Finance Minister shows up in Parliament today to submit that expenditure. But what can you tell us this morning in preparation for that?
Well, the minister hasn't come yet. The sitting itself hasn't started as we expected. Today, sitting is expected to start around 11 a.m. because of a long day. This is billed to be the last day that the House was set to consider some of these businesses ahead of the House going on Christmas break and perhaps returning the new year to swear in the ninth Parliament. It's been a roller coaster of a process because on Monday, the expectation was that the minister will come. He didn't show up. On Tuesday was a similar story, the same story on Wednesday. And then yesterday as well, the minister didn't show. And the explanation and the assurance given by the government side, the majority, was that the minister will come this morning. The speaker was insistent that they should give him clear assurances because it's very likely that also break today, there will be a government shutdown and some of these important businesses will not be done prior to Parliament going on break. And that will ultimately mean a government shutdown. Salaries will not be paid, government services will not function and all that. And so that is how crucial this important business is. A 68.1 billion Ghana cedis in total for the government to spend in the first quarter of next year. That is for the John Dramani Mahama government to be able to settle it and then present its own budget perhaps in February or March of next year before that will kick in. And so that has been a subject of controversy. The government side have been trying to get the buy-in of their colleagues to do other business before they will agree to bring this business to the floor. There's a matter of tax waivers, there's a matter of loans. The NDC have said they are not going to allow it, and that is why the MPs have also been playing delay with this mini budget because ultimately it affects the NDC much more than it affects the NPP who are just about to go out of office. So today we'll get to see finally the promises that have been made by the majority side that the minister will show up will actually happen, or the minister wouldn't. And that will ultimately mean that from 1st January, there'll be no money for the government to spend unless the John Omani Mahama administration takes over from the 7th and then make alternative arrangements. The speaker yesterday gave an indication. If the new government is sworn in on the 7th of January, they can the next day authorize someone to bring this matter to the floor of the House to be dealt with. And so there is a bit of a bright window that the speaker has opened when it comes to these matters. And that is what we are looking at to see if the minister will show up today and do his constitutional obligation. The minority have been warning him that he faces jail time if he does not do this. And so we'll get to know if these threats and all that will push the minister to come to the floor to deliver the expenditure in advance of appropriation.
Kweku, that's a very detailed report. But yesterday I listened to the speaker and there was some uncertainty in terms of whether or not parliamentarians might extend to sit tomorrow, Saturday. I mean, the possibility of shutting down before they've concluded on major government business. Do you get any sense that they might actually extend to tomorrow?
Get down, the buses come so that we can...
So the indication has been given that this will be done today, and a number of issues have since come up and that conversation is being had. The indication was that Parliament will go on break today. There were calls for them to push that to Saturday so that if there were outstanding business, they will do that.
Yeah.
The totality, a number of these MPs have really kicked that out. They said they don't like the idea that they will sit on a Saturday. And so the indication has been that they should sit today, even if it's later in the day, and be able to deal with these matters. It is clear to me that if the finance minister does not show up today, perhaps sitting will have to be moved to tomorrow and see if the minister will come, because everyone is trying to prevent a government shutdown on the 1st of January. And that is why this has become so crucial. If they don't get any buy-in and they don't want to sit on Saturday also, it will mean the House will have to be adjourned for Christmas and New Year break. They return early next year, and probably there will be no budget to even have Parliament to sit or to do the kind of things they do. The order paper and other things that they have to print are all on the consolidated fund. And if there's no budget, you can't do all that. And that is why this is so crucial. We are trying to get the buy-in, trying to get understanding, and see if these businesses can be done before the House adjourns sign time.
Kweku Asante there, our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent. Thank you for bringing us up to speed in preparation for whether or not the Finance Minister will appear before Parliament. Around the world and across Ghana's 16 regions, this is Joy News Desk on Joy News Channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more.
Welcome back to Business on Newsdesk. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. The GCB Bank has taken a step further in pushing the cashless agenda by forming a partnership with global card payment provider Visa. The move is expected to support the digital economy and eliminate the carriage of huge sums of cash by providing some customers with premium cards for payments and other services. At a short ceremony to launch the partnership in Accra, Executive Head of Retail Banking at GCB, Sina Kanangte, explained that more of such products are in the pipeline for customers.
GCB Bank's partnership with Visa underscores its commitment to providing world-class banking services by ensuring that these payment cards offer world-class features and benefit to the customers. This collaboration aims to meet the evolving needs of Ghana's business owners and frequent travelers, offering an unparalleled banking experience. According to Head of Retail Banking at GCB Bank, Sina Kamagat, VES is to support customers in promoting a cashless society.
As a country, what we have been clamoring for is a cash light or a cashless society, and this partnership brings that to the doorsteps of our customers. And so we want to assure our customers that as we go ahead, we'll put convenience on their doorsteps, we'll put banking in the palm, we'll put banking solutions right in the steps of their horse. And so they should expect a lot more of these collaborations and a lot more value that would be unlocked from this collaboration. And so again, we want to wish them the best of this year, this season, Merry Christmas, and to tell them that there's a lot more on the horizon and they should be poised for them.
Country Manager for Visa Ghana, Fabrice Conan, told Joy Business that the collaboration aims to address the needs of customers of the bank who are yearning for such exclusive service.
New products, GCB Visa Infinite, GCB Visa Signature, which are intended to people who have distinct needs. They want to have, they have luxurious needs. They want exclusive discounts at luxury hotels. They want some services like discount on rentals. They want 24/7 concierge services. And above all, they want to have access to a wide network of airport lounges. And we are offering that with 1,200 airport lounges access. So those are the type of needs that we would like to address together with GCB, and that is the result of that collaboration.
Designed for high-value customers, the new card range offers premium benefits tailored to customers with distinct spending behaviors and a desire for convenience.
That's all for business. My name is Winston Taki, still in the Xmas spirit. Susie, how's it going?
You know how it's going. My birthday is 25th December. So let me say Merry Christmas to you, and then you say happy birthday to me. Merry Christmas, Winston. Happy birthday in advance. Possibly we're going to have some packages coming your way. Yes, absolutely. But that's how we're wrapping up for News Desk today. Thank you so much for watching. But for more information, more news, log on to myjoyonline.com and stay informed and updated. I'm Sweetie Abochi, and it's bye for now.